our KPC Daily Devotional. Let's begin by reading from the Gospel according to Luke, chapter 17, and we'll start at verse 7. Jesus says, "Who among you would say to your slave who has just come in from plowing or tending sheep in the field, 'Come here at once and take your place at the table'? Wouldn't you rather say to him, 'Now prepare supper for me, put on your apron and serve me while I eat and drink, and then later you may eat and drink'? Do you thank the slave for doing what was commanded? So you also, when you have done all that you were ordered to do, say, 'We're worthless slaves. We've done only what we ought to have done.'" This week, we're hearing from my second collection of devotionals, Your Inner Dog, Finding Your Place in the Human Pack. And today is A Place in the Pack. Dogs live, move, and hunt in packs. They're social animals and need that interaction to thrive and survive. But to be social, they need some sort of organization. Disorganized society pretty soon turns into no society at all. Doggy social organization is surprisingly sophisticated. Older field studies of wolves and wild dogs identified different roles, like the alpha dog, who is the chieftain and field commander; the beta dog, who is the lieutenant or adjutant, the aide-de-camp to the alpha; and the omega dog, the bottom rung on the social scale, who is responsible for initiating play. Newer studies try to be more nuanced, less interested in dominance. They prefer the idea of parental roles. But it doesn't change the fact that the daddy or mommy wolf or dog is in charge. Now, Cesar Millan, known as the dog whisperer, says that the alpha dog or alpha human always leads the pack from the front and goes first. The others follow, all bunched together. I disagree. Now, that may be true in the frontal charge during a hunt, but not necessarily when the pack is on territorial patrol or migrating. Maybe it's just a terrier or schnauzer thing, but my dog's social organization is more complicated than that. When we walk, one dog will go first. If possible, he'll trot about 30 feet ahead, and perhaps 20 feet to the right or the left, whichever is higher ground. This is the scout. His job is to anticipate and alert the pack to prey or to danger up ahead. Most of the dogs will then line up shoulder to shoulder immediately in front of me. This is the front phalanx. They would guard the old and the young, if we had any, and initiate the hunt. Then comes the alpha dog, c'est moi, in the center of the pack, like a general steering the assault from the back. And finally, the lieutenant or adjutant trots along a couple of steps behind me, usually to my right. That's the position we connect with the heel command. And the lieutenant serves as my personal bodyguard. Now, there was a time when Barkley was my scout, but he aged out, I think. Now Cullen is our scout, the omega dog. He's the youngest, smallest, fastest, and most expendable to the pack. Then Gracie, our Manchester Terrier, an honorary schnauzer, we say, always stays in the front line with at least one other dog. But what I found fascinating is how Barkley and Braxton take turns as lieutenant. When one gets bored back there, I guess that's what's happening, he'll slip forward into the front line and the other automatically drops back. Now, there's no ego in this. I'm not saying dogs don't have egos. There can be a lot of rivalry for attention or competition for food. They each have their distinct likes and dislikes. But when it comes to pack organization, there are certain roles that need to be filled, and the dogs don't really care who does what, as long as somebody is doing each job. If a position is vacant, one of the others will step in and do it. The smooth functioning of the pack is more important than the personal ego or agenda of each individual, which tells me that my dogs find their own unconscious sense of stability, security, and maybe even some satisfaction through their selfless contribution to their overall social network, rather than through the personal power or ego strokes of some specific position. Now, ego, well, that is a human frontal lobe kind of thing. People could learn a lot from this. I work with troubled churches, deeply troubled churches. And far too often that trouble has something to do with the power and egos of one or two people. Someone stakes out their turf in the social network and battles everybody else tooth and nail. There are senseless power grabs. There's the many who trot along with the pack and expect the same few to do all the jobs. Or else the few who get their kudos by doing everything, and they don't really want anyone else to step in and help. Human egos. It probably has something to do with original sin. I think Barclay and his boys would remind us that the greatest personal satisfaction comes not through clawing your way to the top of some petty little social heap, but through the smooth and efficient functioning of our larger social network, our pack. Often, we have to forget about our egos, step in to do whatever it is that needs to be done, whether it's glamorous or not, in fact, whether it's even recognized or not. Jesus said that whoever would be greatest must be the servant of all, and servants don't get to pick and choose their assignments. He also said that servants shouldn't expect special recognition, as he said, after all, we only did what we were told to do. So look around and see what needs to be done and what positions are not adequately filled. Whatever it might be, then just step in and do it. You'll find you're capable of things you didn't realize, and you'll feel tremendous satisfaction in seeing your church or your school or your family or your community operate more smoothly and efficiently because of your selfless contribution. And maybe one day, you'll get to hear your master announce, well done, good and faithful servant. Well done. I wish you a blessed day ahead. Goodbye.